Welcome to this episode of Cribs, Bathroom Edition. This is my bathroom, and as you can see, I've got some peeling happening here on the ceiling. This is just about all the way across. When I moved into this house in 2020, I came up here before me and my wife moved in for about 2 weeks, and I scraped all the ceilings. We had popcorn on the ceilings. And I fit this into 2 weeks. I scraped the whole thing by myself, the whole house. And I did my best to cover it up, but I didn't really do it right. I should have plastered all the ceilings and then, done all the primer work and then all the paint. But I didn't. I did not plaster the ceilings. I just primed and painted them all. And in the bathrooms, I'm having some problems with peeling. And so what I'm going to do in this episode is fix all this peeling in this bathroom and in the master bath, which is even worse than this one. And then I'm going to install a heater fan where this old rusty bath fan is. And I'm also going to fix some of the duct work that goes with that. So I'm not going to show the master bath in this video. This downstairs bath gave me more than enough for this video. So that'll have to be another one. And I think my wife wants some lights installed upstairs anyway, so that'll add some extra interest to the second bathroom ceiling video. That sounds nice. So here I'm just cutting away the paint around the fan, the old fan. It had been painted over, I think, probably a couple times, so it was basically glued. So here what I'm doing is using a voltage probe to test if these wires are hot, because I don't want to get shocked. It's not a huge deal getting shocked, it just makes your finger numb for a little while, but it is unpleasant. As you'll see in this video, I'm kind of obsessive about testing the wires I'm working on to make sure they're not hot. I mean, I know these wires are not hot, but I'm testing them anyway. It's a problem I'm working through. Maybe I have a little bit of a shadow syndrome. Maybe not. This is the excellent venting solution that whoever installed my bathroom fan came up with. Yeah, just vent it directly into the workshop. Why not? It's always lovely. There's the fan. Looks like some good duct tape was used here to attach this vent. Alright. Just clearing away the insulation so I can get to it. Ooh, this insulation probably needs to be refreshed. Looks like it has these few rails on it. And I'm just going to cut them. There's the bathroom. All right, now to get it off the rails. So what I like to do when I'm gonna make a hole in drywall is to make a cardboard pattern for it. I find that being exact saves a lot of pain down the line, like having to patch a hole that you made too big, or go back and enlarge a hole that you made too small. Working with drywall is not my favorite thing to do. For me, it's tedious. I have to go back over and do multiple passes with drywall mud and sanding to make it look good. It also creates a lot of dust, so it's messy. And it dries out your hands. The dust just gets everywhere. It really does. On another note, these bathroom fans are pretty cool. They're modular. So what you saw me do a second ago is take the heater element out so that I could lay the box down flat and make a pattern. And then what I do is just take the pattern and mark it with a pencil, and then cut it out. Easy peasy. And I've found that this method makes a perfect hole every time. And here what I'm doing is making a pattern for that curved piece to patch the old hole from the old fan. Looks like this is the same piece of drywall I used upstairs in the master bath when we moved in and I installed that heater fan. So I misjudged here a little bit, and as you can see, the piece of drywall patch I put in is kind of sticking out. It's not level with the rest of the ceiling. So I just went back and fixed it. I made the shim I put in a little bit thinner on that side, and it worked out perfectly. And just so anyone who's thinking that I'm using the wrong thickness of drywall here, I'm actually using the correct thickness. It's just that the drywall bows out a little bit here. I think it's because the rails from the old fan are between the drywall and the stud, so it makes it bow out a little bit. So I put it in shims to make it level. I thought this part of the process would be way worse than it ended up being. This actually went pretty quick for me. Most of the big chunks of paint came off easily. And then with the sanding, I recommend investing in a tube that attaches from your shop vac to your orbital sander. I do not have such a tube, so what I ended up doing is just holding my shop vac up next to where I was sanding. And I'm sure I got some of the dust, but I'm pretty sure the majority still ended up in the air and on the ground. It's important to wipe away all the dust on your painting surface before you paint. So I kind of look like a hobo in this work shirt. And I have a solution coming. I'm working on a Raging Fix On t-shirt. So that's something to look forward to. Well, the next step in this project is to get some joint compound and fill in all the inconsistencies and divots and things like that on the ceiling. And I had some joint compound in my workshop that I've had for, I guess, a couple years now. And when I opened it up,
oh my god! The tiny underwater civilization has advanced hundreds of years! Look! There's a library! And a temple! And a... They think I'm God. Yes! I am God of the sea people!
blah, Mold City. So I do not want to put that on my ceiling in my bathroom. Because that would be ridiculous. Black mold problem. I could paint my ceiling with black mold, I guess, but that is a decision I could make, but not one I'm gonna make. So slight pause while I go shopping for some joint compound. So everything I've read and watched says that it's important for your drywall compound to be the right consistency. I've seen peanut butter, I've seen soft serve, so I aimed for something approximating one of those culinary categories. Dang, boy. So I think I did this right. I know you're supposed to tape drywall joints. I just used some paper joint tape here, mud it over it, mud it under it, and hopefully it will hold up. So even more drywall dust here. I spared you here by not showing all the back and forth mudding and sanding that I did. So you are welcome for that. So drywall compound is just dried mud basically, and it washes off with a wet sponge. So I've found that if you're doing really delicate sanding, trying to make it really flat and nice, just a damp sponge will do the job. This Zinsser Peel Stop product is good stuff. It's water-based, so it washes off with water. When it's wet, not when it's dry. When it's dry, it seals against water. But when it's wet, you can clean up easily with just like a damp cloth. So it made this job easy. And I think it did a good job of sealing the ceiling. So this stuff is made to be absorbed by sheetrock. And when it gets absorbed correctly, it ends up being shiny. When it's not shiny, when it's kind of drab and flat, that's how you know you need to add more. And I had a lot of those spots, so I went with a second coat. So these are the crossbars that hold up the fan. Same as the old fan, just slightly different design. As you can see, I've extended these underneath on both sides. Now I need to hammer them in, I think. Fan is now installed, the heater fan light combo, where the old one used to be. I think I did a pretty good job patching the ceiling there from the old hole. The ceiling is sealed and ready for primer. And but I was going to show the electrical situation here. So currently this is not hooked up yet. But right now there are two switches here. This one operates the vanity lights, and this one operated the fan and light combo that used to be there. But the new fan is gonna have a heater. So what I'm gonna do is what I did upstairs. I'm gonna install a timer switch for the heater, a timer switch for the fan, and turn this into a double for the vanity and the extra light. I'll probably move this over closest to here, and then put the fan in the middle and the heater on the outside. So, time to start cutting the wall. So the first thing I'm going to do here is take this plate off. So that we can get a look at what we've got going on under here. All right, so looks like there's a fair amount of space in that box. But what I'm gonna do is take these switches out, take all the wiring apart, and then expand this cut so that I can install a 3-switch box. And then I'll pry the old box off and put in an old work box, I guess, which will just clamp onto the wall and will work fine. These switches are kind of painted on. You can kind of see top and bottom here what I'm talking about. And what I'm going to do is just cut the paint. Alright, free of the wall. Okay, the power goes down from the ceiling and then out through the wall, so I'm guessing this outlet is also connected, is tapped onto these somehow. All right, I'm looking here at my breaker box, and I've got downstairs bath right there, number 22. So turn that off. And I go to the bathroom. Yes, the lights are now off. If I test power, that's of course off, that's off. That's no longer powered. That is no longer powered. All right, this is safe to work on. All right, I'm gonna start by unhooking all this. So on these switches, you can see they have these two, most switches will have these two little screws on the side, and that's where you can J-hook in wires. And I like that method a lot better than these. They also have these little inserts. It'll focus where the wires are just inserted. These things come loose. You can see how loose that one is, or how, I guess someone could have been sloppy about it, but I wonder if it's like a friction grip, and it's just not as good. Don't use those. To get them loose, you just have to have a little thing to go in there and you press them. You have to take a little probe and you put it down in this little guy. You press and you pull. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. And then this one, press, pull, and let's go. I'm basically just taking all this apart so that I can separate all the wires. So basically there's 3 wires. This one was the one that powered the fan and light, and it goes up into the ceiling, and it is now disconnected up there. There's nothing connected to the new fan yet. This, I'm not sure. I think that this is probably where all the power was coming from, up in the ceiling. And this, I think, is going down through the wall and then back up into the light, possibly into that electrical outlet. We'll see. All right, so I've turned the power back on to test this, and what's actually happening is this outlet, you might be able to see that green light right there is on. This outlet is powered from the junction box on breaker 22. And it was powering this box through this line, which is now powered. This is not powered, so I'm guessing this goes up and into this light. And this, of course, was daisy chained onto here before when there was a switch, and this was going up and doing the fan and the light. So I've made a little diagram here to help me with the wiring. I actually scrapped this because it wasn't going to make sense. I actually cut this wire out, and I combined this vanity light with the power for this light as well. So this light, and the fan will all be on one circuit, and the heat will have its own dedicated circuit. So, and I also combined these two. So I've got one 12-3 wire going in, and I've got power for the light and fan going here, power for the heat going here. And those will be connected to separate circuits at the box. So again, here I am using a cardboard pattern to cut a hole in the drywall. It works every time. Also, I love wearing a headlamp when I'm doing house projects. It makes me feel like a spelunker. Perfect. So most old work electrical boxes are attached to the studs using nails. So you should be able to just pry them off once you figure out which stud they're nailed to. Old box out. Lame. Really lame. There's a horizontal board that goes right here. So it's not as simple as just fishing a line down through the wall. So you can see here, whoever built this wall just put a little notch in their horizontal support beam that they put in, and they fed the wires through that. So here I'm back up in the ceiling if you lost your bearings. So this hole will allow me to feed the wire up through the wall and into the ceiling where I can attach it to the fan. I'm using a wire fish to try and find the hole that drills up on the top. Okay, good news. After 1,000 years of prodding and poking with the fish tape, I was able to successfully fish the tape through the hole that I drilled and the top beam. So here's my fish tape. And what I'm going to do now is attach my wires to it. I'm going to run a 12.3 and a 12.2 down. The 12.2 is going to go from the switch to the fan. 12.3 is going to go from the switch box straight to the breaker box. Help if I use the adhesive side of the tape. Yes. To any home handyman who's ever fished wires through a wall, that feeling is so good. For the wires to just come through, it's awesome. Triumphant. And as you can see, the hole for the box is perfect. So before, when I was looking at my little hand-drawn electrical map and I talked about cutting the line, this is what I was doing. It's movie magic for you. That actually happened chronologically after I did this. But what I'm doing here is just cutting the wire that originally powered that switch box that was attached to the outlet. It's no longer attached now, no longer hot. I took it out of the equation. I like to use these timer switches for fans and heaters in bathrooms. I think they save your heater from being left on all night or all day so the heater won't burn out, or worst case scenario, cause a fire. Doubt that would happen. I think that would be rare, but either way, keeps heat from blowing into your bathroom for 24 hours straight. Or if you're prone to leaving the bathroom fan on for hours on end, it erases that problem. Cue the old man noises. Here what I'm doing is fishing the wires over from the hole I drilled earlier to the fan. Remember to always use a grommet to protect your wires when they enter a metal box. And attaching the vent exhaust. And the wire run from the fan to the breaker box. So what's going on here is these are the wires that I've put through up top. These are the two wires for the 2 wires in ground for the heater, and these are the wires for the for the fan and the light, and the common here. So the whites are common, or that's the neutral line. And if you see on the heater fan side, each side has its own common. So I'll be hooking that up, and then the blue and the black are the light and fan respectively, and this red is heat and white is common. So pretty simple, common to common, power to power, and then there's two ground screws right here that the grounds will attach to. So for any electrical sticklers out there, I've heard the white line referred to as the neutral, as the return, as the common. I think return may be the most apt, because the powered side is, of course, the powered hot side, and then it energizes the appliance that you're connected to, and then returns. Okay. Attached heat, fan, light, everything's attached. And hopefully, when the power is hooked up, it'll all turn on. So what I did there was turn off my main breaker so that I don't electrocute myself with 220 volts, which is what comes in from the street to your house. Here I'm fishing the line down into the box, cutting away the insulation. Here I'm attaching the ground line to the ground bar. Here I'm attaching the return or neutral or common to the return or neutral or common bar. And here I am doing my best to install the breaker. This thing was stubborn. Why is that so difficult? Let's see. Hey, light. Fan. Fan. And heat. That's heat coming out. Cool. Ooh, new heater smell. Cool. So I think one of my problems is that I used a stone bit there. It's a bit made for like cutting through cinder blocks. I just used it because it was 4 inches. But I think it strained my drill to death. New drill. Who dis? So that old Craftsman bolt-on drill was on its last leg anyway. I had already replaced the motor with a little motor I bought off Amazon. So I slightly misjudged here, and this is now hitting
So I'm just gonna make a mark so that I can.
Is the caulk the right color? Does the touch-up paint match the faded exterior paint of my house? To both questions, I answer no. But is this hidden around the side of my house behind my air conditioner? And is the caulk paintable? To those questions, I answer yes. And so I'm not going to worry about this further. I think it's done. My family is always making fun of me because I find myself in attics and crawl spaces, ceiling areas all the time. They say I like it up there or down there. Maybe they're right. It's quiet in those areas, meditative. A guy can really contemplate his place in the universe when he's sitting in the dark of a crawl space or has his head in an attic. It's a peaceful place. I've never painted with oil-based anything before, so I was surprised how easily this went on. It went on just like latex. Oil-based primers are apparently good in high moisture areas, according to all the literature. I've decided to only do one coat of the oil-based primer. I think it's good. I've sealed the ceiling twice and then put on a coat of oil-based primer, so I think it's probably ready for paint. So here we go. We're going with kind of a hanked blue for the ceiling. It was color matched to a ribbon from our wedding. So it's a romantic color. This color actually ended up being darker than we wanted it to be. So I had some leftover flat white ceiling paint from when we moved in, and I mixed it with this blue and made it several shades lighter, and it turned out really nice. I'll use the same color up in the master bath when I redo that ceiling. So what I'm trying to do here is quote unquote cut in, which is what professional painters do. They don't use tape, they just paint with a brush. And I always thought that was cool, and I figured I would try it here. And it was difficult. It was hard to learn at first. The secret is to go sideways with your brush, and then you can really control the line. Well, here's the finale. Hope you like it. This project was a doozy. Took me a while to finish. Almost a month, actually, with work and everything. And I've still got the master bath to do, so that's a fun project in front of me. Stay tuned to after the end for a fun palate cleanser. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Oh, hello. You want to do a project?